and this is Not Your Mama's Bible Study, along with a little bit of his stories, lies. So I just kind of wanted to do one of the things that I do sometimes on my own when I'm listening to things, just stopping and questioning and using your eyes to see and ears to hear what someone is really talking about, right? So I came across that slogan or quote, the only good Indian is a dead Indian, right? So now that we have to look at these terms and see what these terms actually meant, okay? So, in my eyes, okay, you can use it Indian. We see that term in, okay, just like inhabitant and in whatever, okay? So you see that term there. So when we're talking about Indians, okay, um, at certain times in history, you can use that term by speaking about the Aboriginal peoples, okay, to a certain extent, because we're talking about the offspring, which are the indigenous people, and then possibly natives, who are the not original people. And we're not just saying that is because we've already looked into these terms. You know what I'm saying? And not to say that they're not in some ways sometimes attached to indigenous peoples, okay, which were again attached to Aboriginal, so called Black, old world people. Okay. And the reason why we don't see so much information about the old world is because, excuse me, I think they use different things like mythology and different types of ways and terms in order to hide it. But again, you would think just because we're in the Americas, we would know everything about all of the places in North America, or just because we're in North America, we would know a lot about the whole entire country. But if you notice that when you live in a state, usually when you're going through school, you're learning about that state. And you don't learn everything about that state, but they have certain structured things that they want you to know about that state, and the other things that they would not like you to know, they just don't talk about them. So it doesn't mean that nobody was writing about these things in the 1600s, 1700s, 1800s, 1900s. It just means that these are the things that your indoctrination stations, such as schools and churches, again, because if we're looking to get to the truth, why do we only use the Bible in the church when you have all these other works and writings that are official, but they again want to keep you in the Bible? And then in that instance, there are, and you have to be honest, certain Bibles like the King James Version, which, like I said, I do this for a living, and it's very hard to interpret any of this other stuff in the King James Bible. That's why I don't refer people to that Bible anymore, again, because most of you already have been reading it. But in the Living Bible, it gives dates, it gives other information that you don't get. And again, you guys hear me say it all the time because I feel like that book was more so meant for the living creatures, which are the foreigners that God created out of the dust or the dirt, or the people of the land, the original people of the land. And he took the slime or the water, which again, we looked into the old Bible text the other day, that said that we were right about this the whole time. These books were written in the 1800s. Again, it, it's something different when I interpret this on my own by using etymology and different things to interpret the book, and then we come and find documents that are clearing up what we're saying. They may not be mainstream, but I think that that's why I look to these documents more, because anything mainstream is never going to give you the truth. Anybody mainstream is never going to give you the truth. And yes, that comes to your beloved celebrities or celebrities. And that comes when I'm talking about religion and anything that you watch on your television. Okay, because it was brought to you by civilization. Okay, so again, um, we're here trying to bring forth that information that's not readily available. Okay, so again, why I'm saying this is because we need to get an understanding or a grasp on what this means. Indian just groups the so-called Negro and indigenous peoples together, kind of like as one. Also natives in some instances. Yes, I'm recording. Yes, I'm recording. I gave you the vitamin water. Love you too. Close the door, please. Okay. So when you love, sorry, I'm not editing because editing gets me in trouble and I never get the videos up. Okay, so you guys heard what it is. Okay, so anyhow, it's grouping all of those people in one group at sometimes in the story. Just like when we read about the 1861 and all the things that were going on in South Carolina slave laws or whatever. It was grouping mulattoes, Indians, and Negroes, whether they were friend or foe of the government, together. Okay, so let's go ahead and listen to this video so that you can see what I'm saying. So we already know beast of the field represents certain peoples. We're going to go deeper into how we can tell what tribes we're looking at by the things that are going on in the background of some of these images that we have been sharing. We don't talk again a lot in detail about the images, or we'll show what they wrote about it, but we're going to use seers and things like that in order to look at what's really going on in the background. So again, this is why you might see some when we talk about the beast of the field, we're talking about a certain group of people or a subgroup, okay? When we're talking about the fowl of the air, we're talking about another group. So this is why you'll notice that a lot of so-called Native American groups will have certain things on their tents, like writings or of, they'll either have the beast most times, possibly one little bird or something, or they'll have eagles and different fowl on their tents. This lets you know who we're talking about in the Bible, okay? So again, I'm going to be digging in more to show you guys some instances, and we're going to take like we may not, okay, the reason why I don't share it with you guys like that all the time, I have so much information compiled, is because I tend to find some information, I go, not really jotting down or organizing the information, again, because I told you guys that's not how I work. It doesn't work best for me. And then I end up with all this information and I give up, right? Because I don't have any help to sift through the stuff, okay? And I feel like it's not enough. I need that big thing in there to convince you guys that we may be talking about this, okay? So again, I'm going to stop doing that, and I'm just going to give you all that I have, because it's really tons, and then you'll have to make up your decision at the end of the day whether you want to do deeper research if you think that this is something that is sustainable, and then maybe you can carry the torch and help me out and share your information in a group, okay? So again, let's go ahead and listen to this and listen to how he's explaining certain things, okay? So again, thanks a lot for watching. Don't forget to comment, rate, or subscribe. And also don't forget to join us in the Facebook group, American Aborigines Unchained, if you have information to share to unchain the minds of our people, or unearth, okay? Uncolonize the mind or decolonize the mind. So again, this is what we do, okay? So again, let's go ahead and listen.
Yeah, I think the plot line, the story of Avatar is an old one, and it's one that I've done many times before.
Okay, now I'm not sure. I'm just gonna go ahead and say this though, that I think that this is a guy that does a lot of stuff in Hollywood. I think he's been in movies and stuff like that. If I'm sure that I remember his face. Again, yeah.
On the other hand, I think
It's not really important about who this is for us to move further or what he means to anyone. We are listening to what he is saying. We're being non-biased. We are just listening, taking in the information, and we are just seeing what we may have here, okay? So again, we do know that so-called Black Indians were killed off by paper genocide, by calling them African American, Black, all of these bywords or these misnomers, right? Okay, so again, when they say they killed all these Indians, 800,000 Indians and all this stuff, that doesn't mean that they killed them, that, or millions, 80 million or some, it was some ridiculous number. That doesn't mean that they actually killed them. Slewing doesn't even mean kill. Killing doesn't mean kill. It can also mean by law, or even killing your spirit or your connection to your um, source, okay, or God, or whatever you people want to call it, okay? So
the real difference between, say, Avatar and a film like, say, Dances with Wolves, or it's a western set in the future on another planet. But the difference being that at some point, once the conflict has begun, when the natives are being attacked, they fight back, but they have one other ally, and that's the planet itself. And all of its inhabitants begin to fight back.
Okay, so Let's just stop there. Now you can look in I can look in this man's eyes and see that he's trying to tell you something or relay something to you that he may not be able to really fully do it. So he's looking to you to put the pieces together. Again, that's just my analogy of the whole thing. Everybody can have their own point of view. But because again, we have to remember that this is not an attack against any so-called race. This information that we're sharing, even though it sounds like it's racist because people go to their feelings first instead of just seeing that we're trying to bring out information. Um, okay, so these people, we have all been lied to. So-called white people, so-called Puerto Rican, anybody that lives in Americas has been lied to. Anybody that's around the world that has been lied to, okay? Besides some certain group of pure, okay, so-called foreign, so-called white people, okay? So what we have to understand is they were, or overstand, or maybe even understand, is they were using people against people, even though like they do today, to divide, to cause confusion, so that we can look at each other, be mad at each other, war with each other, battle with each other, while they stand up tall with all of their weapons and their tools to indoctrinate the mind and the soul and kill the, So again, we have to realize that this is not a battle against us. They want to pin it that way. They want to portray it like that on their tools, like the media. But at the end of the day, it's them getting in the heads of people, lying, maneuvering people so that they can control all of them. So they really don't care about so-called white people either. They don't care about natives either. All of you are going to be forced to get this vaccine not too long from now. They've convinced all of us that this thing is bigger than what it is. Okay? They've convinced you all to put these masks on that are killing you, that are making you sicker than better. Okay? Again, we did the video the other day talking about how one state, Wisconsin, has only had 800 deaths. They never made it mandatory to wear masks. Now they're talking about, they've been amping it up in the newspaper, but at the end of the day, the numbers don't match what they're saying in the newspaper. Again, that's propaganda. That's their tool in order to manipulate you or guide you into doing something out of fear and confusion. Okay. So again, they're saying this, look, we're going to have to take extra measures. Whole time I'm watching the numbers is not going up as bad as they say. Right? Never been ordered to wear a mask, but I'm hearing that on the 20th or something, that I think nationwide they're going to be requiring everybody to wear a mask. And in some places, like in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, they're going to be mandatory for you to wear it even if you want to walk outside of your house. Okay, which is just ridiculous because it's not spreading as fast as they're saying. Again, people are dying. Don't be subdued by the fact of fear of dying. Okay, don't be subdued. That's what they want you to be, stagnant. Okay, when it comes to this. Okay, we have to be able to fight back, because I'm telling you, once we let them win with this, it's a wrap for you. It's a wrap. You'll have that mask on until you get the vaccine or the 2020 ID or something. Okay. So again, we have to learn to put our information together and not be jealous or hateful when it comes to sharing this information. It should be all of us, their worst fear. Okay. The biggest secret is the so-called American Aborigines, or so-called black people, being here in America already. Okay. The biggest, that's their biggest secret, but their biggest agenda is to keep all of us divided. Okay. And give us a false perception of ourselves and others in order to keep that going. Okay. So again, when he's talking about the people were here, the only allies that they had was the planet itself. Let's keep on listening to what he's going to say, because you know what I'm saying. Again, the planet, the earth. Listen to how these people speak. Mankind, they've been using a lot of these terms lately in the news and stuff. You have to internalize what they're really talking about when they break it up. First, you're talking about people, then you talk about mankind, then you say humans are going to die from this. Why can't we just keep one common, speech? Because these people know the terms to put on the news, because they get a download or they get information every morning to share with all the networks. And this is why you see some of the similar information going on these things. Okay. But then they give you the illusion of they're not agreeing with stuff, but it's just to cause confusion for you. Okay, so when he's talking about the only thing they had left was allies, was now good and damn well he's not talking about no birds and shit coming up to help them battle against nobody. So again, what are we talking about? The planet itself. Well, let's see. Because you know what I'm saying, when we found out that the earth in the Bible means so-called black people, or the earliest people, or the inhabitants, or the earliest groups of people in a place. See, then what are we really saying? And so, see, some of these families are still tied to these organizations, these secret societies in the background, so they can't give out so much information. Some of them are frustrated and they do want to tell, but they can't, because again, there's things that they'll lose, including their lives, if they let this information out, or they're standing letting this information out. Okay. So again, don't think that that's what he's talking about when he's talking about, again, you can think that if you want, because I'm not here to tell anyone what it is or what it ain't. I'm simply sharing what it looks like to me, but we're just trying to see through. Okay.
If we could have had the buffalo, the deer, the elk, and our mountain lions helping us, who knows? Our present may be different.
Okay. So, okay, so just being me, I'm gonna go ahead and look up the mountain lion groups, tribes, or people. hmm The Cougars or South Americans. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Or even Wakandan, or even, Tennessee, just like different places in the, so I looked it up, and before I went and did this video, just to grasp it and see, could we be talking? Yes, I feel like that's what we're talking about. Okay. Again, you guys can do it on your own if you like. The Buffalo people made me think about the Buffalo Soldiers at one point again. But then, it made me look deeper into certain groups of people that were wearing nothing but, like, they didn't wear feathers and stuff. They were more meek, or more, low key, and they wore maybe bison fur and things like that. They didn't, or maybe one feather and things like this. They didn't have fowl of the air. They didn't have any kind of representation or writings on their shirts, and or any symbols of white men hanging from their chest. See, this is how they separated the groups. The shields that we're talking about that people were given in the Bible by God is just God, or the government giving these groups certain flags, certain symbols to put on their tents and their teepees, certain things to put up so that they know who these people are with, so that they don't slew them. Okay. So again, because these are their children, they came here to seed or plant their seeds in the soil, which is the American Aboriginal or so-called Black woman, in order to create subgroups and races at the end of the day. But they also brought some of their people over here during as immigrants or whatever, and they also planted some of those in the soil, but then they also reserved some of them, so that they can continue to produce something that looks like them. Okay. We gonna go there because I'm not, like I said, I'm not here wasting my time and playing with y'all. I'm gonna tell you what it is because I see it. I'm not, I think I'm too careful with you guys. See, so again, you can look at the research and do it on your own and see how you feel about it, but I'm just saying this is what I found. Okay. So when he's saying that, he's saying they could have had all the other indigenous people, but they let their great father is what they used to call the president and those above them. They let their fathers in manipulate them into going against you, use them and their so-called white foreign counterparts in order to keep on slewing you, like they're even doing now with their militia and things from the caste system that are able to murder you and not be charged. Okay. Casual killing act. All of these things coincide with what I'm saying right here. I'm giving you hints and clues and keywords so that you can look it up on your own. Okay. You look up those things and it's going to expand what I'm trying to tell you here today. Okay. So once they were done using these natives, and they were bringing their people in that looked like them from a different place and stocking the ships, like it says in Genesis, and bring them over in abundance. That's what he was talking about. The ones that looked like them were from their own place. And this is what we're talking about. Okay. They also first brought over some darker view, some of the leftovers of their Slavic or servant people. Okay. In order to mix and mingle with you, to break the ice, to just, kind of get you in there first. And then after they started to create or bring over or have the natives with them, okay, or other indigenous groups go against their mothers, which is the earth, which is America, which is the so-called Black woman here. Okay. So once they were able to do that, what I'm saying, they didn't need them anymore. And they still had ties with their mother. So it was a battle against the mother and the father. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, they couldn't use them anymore because they started to rebel also against the government after they seen what happened to us, and they seen that now then they don't use us anymore, they don't need us anymore, they're doing it to us. Okay, so again, and then when so-called white people stood up in the 1800s, early 1900s, what happened to them? Same thing. They showed you that they really don't care about them either. Okay, flu, pandemics, all this other stuff. By reducing the population, they showed you that they really don't care about you either. Okay. So once they're done using people, it's just all about them at the end of the day. Okay, so what he's saying is, what if they hadn't gone against their nature, okay, or their natural relatives, or akin or kin, okay, and side with these people, because now you see what they're doing, and now they're doing it to you, but now it's too late. See, okay, so let's keep going.
But other than that, it's a story I think that's worth repeating. The Only Good Indian, as a matter of fact, relates to Avatar in that we shot that at the same time as we were shooting Avatar. So, in a way, I was time traveling from, say, 1906 in the last century to sometime in the great future, you know. But The Only Good Indian deals with a difficult time in Native American history. Into, like I say, the last century, wherein the prevalent idea at the time was the education of Native American children was important.
Reconstruction, okay, or indoctrination, okay, mind control, mass manipulation, okay, we can use those too, okay. It's another read that I want to use, okay, but it's all about taking out the old, bringing in the new. And for them, it would have been easier to reform, okay, or whatnot. So with that, it would have been easier for them to do that because, again, they had already been somewhat stripped away from or told something bad about their darker relatives, right? Or that they're better, or taken from and lifted up over in the caste system. See, okay, so they pulled them out of the earth and brought them up into the heavens, which is that triangle that we see in the caste system that we always talk about here, okay. They took them out of hell, the Sheol, when we talk about the dome earth. They took them from underneath George Washington's feet, right, with the black and white checkerboard floor, okay, or under the when it comes to that casket of the dead, okay, which represents so-called black folks that lost your nationality, because in 1828 we read in that Webster's dictionary that they found a certain group of people, Aboriginal, Native, copper-colored people, but now they have given our term American or our identity over to another, their children, is what it says. So now it's something that they use for their children. Okay. So again, let's think about that. Let's think about that. Because even natives are now, they've changed them. Okay. So now they're even Native Americans. Okay. So at least it's not yellow or golden or tan Americans. See? Okay.
In that, what you had to do first was kill the Indian so the man could be born.
Okay. So we were talking about Genesis here. You kill the Indian, which again, for them, it would have been a part of them. Okay. For you, it is what they called you as original people. So again, it's also talking about you to kill that to kill off or till or subdue or replenish the earth, like it says in Genesis 1. Okay, all that stuff is talking about tearing you down to as unrecognizable, so that then they can sit their abode or their house or their firmament or establishment of God, which is symbolic, but it's also a realistic thing in law and everything else that we operate under. Okay, for bringing you down and keeping you at the bottom and sitting everything else new on top of you, including their world. You see what I'm saying? So that bottom portion of that's not connected, because there's enmity between their children, which are the servants, peasants, and commoners, and the earth's children, which is the original people. We have been cast out or thrown away. That's why Ab is in front of original, because you've been taken out of your standing and it has been given to someone else. Okay? So again, what he's talking about has something to do with the death of you as a group, so that they, like the Bible says, that they'll remember no more, or bring them to this place where they're going to be enslaved or brought down forever. Okay, so the whole cultivation, colonization, planting, seeding, farming, all of the pilgrimages, all that has to do with some another layer being placed on top of you and keeping you from being a people and putting you under the rule of someone that is not a people. Okay.
To totally take away all that which makes him a particular Indian.
And so them forming, sorry, them forming something out of that was to take something from that they preserved from what they tore down, and take the DNA or the substance or uh the vicar or something from that group, and then after 3 generations you whitewash it where you it's unrecognizable and the negro traits are gone away from these people. Okay, and now you have formed someone that looked like you from taking what was primitive or prior to or pre already there prior to Genesis, is what I'm saying. Okay.
Place it with values and mores and the society, the culture of the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we take the idea and take the concept,
And just like he's just calling him the culture, the whatever of the Americans. Who? See? Because the true Americans are the ones that we're talking about have been trodden down. Now, this ain't coming at him. This is just using language and the way people speak in order to show you guys how to see through things, how to take out certain information, how to read between the lines, how to notice signs and symbols. Again, they have been placed in the heavens in order to give you a sign or wonder. So again, we're going to go into those terms too, and you'll be again shocked to see what we're really talking about with these people that were grafted in. Okay, so again, instead of being okay, we won't go there.
the plot line of the Searchers, and put together a film that deals with the question of forced assimilation and the effect that it has on those who decide to assimilate. That would be my character in the whole story.
As a native, forced to assimilate. And what was it called? The not Carlisle. I can't remember what the guy's name with the schools and the missionaries that they had to take the Indian out of these people. Okay, keep them away from their families for a long time. You know what I'm saying? We're not too far fetched from something like that happening again, if you don't know what I'm saying. So for those people that may not want to deal with this vaccine, don't be so shocked. Do you see what I'm saying? Because we don't know these stories to know what we could be leading into. Just because we're so modernized don't mean a damn thing. You still dealing with the same people. You're still dealing with the same entities or groups. Okay? Don't get it twisted.
And it has the idea. It has the idea of the vampire. And
what was I just thinking?
Wherein the victim of the vampire becomes a vampire.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So hey, that's so funny because I just said Carlisle because I told you guys I was watching the New Moon series with my daughter just so I can see if something was just leading me to look at some things, and I just found some amazing things in history that mirror that storyline. And just you remember the dad's name was Carlisle. So maybe that's why I was thinking of that name. But again, it is kind of like that. Like I was telling my daughter, she's like, "Is there such thing as vampires?" I'm like, "Well, in a sense, there are. But what they're showing you in Hollyweird is a version to give you a false notion or perception as to what that is. Are there people that drink blood? There are ancient people. There are people that do this in the dark. Okay. Adrenochrome is something you can look into. Different things like this of people doing these things. Okay. Um, uh Again, there's a lot to go into as food or meat or bread, even, not bread. Okay. um but for food or meat or whatever, it's for something to suck off of something else in order to make it stronger and better and wiser and richer and you see what I'm saying? So I was telling her it's symbolic, I think, for something. Is someone going to come and bite you on your neck and turn you? No. Okay. But can they suck from you and draw even your energy from you? Okay, in order to make you a lower person. Yes, you see what I'm saying? So it's symbolic for something. Same thing with aliens. They tell you they're green or gray, they're tall, they stink, but if they come in spaceships that we, again, all of us in this age have a cell phone and we haven't been able to capture anything that looks really realistic when it comes to this. But the Bible talks about aliens, those who are grafted in or surjoined to groups, those who are foreign or not from a place. Didn't say outer space, it's saying it's not from a place. So again, the aliens have already invaded, honey. That happened a long time ago. And what did they do? Poke and prod and test and take and change DNA with vaccines and all this other shit, medicine, new age medicine. So again, they have already been doing everything that the aliens are. They're showing you a false narrative of aliens with their tool. Again, it is to entertain you, to enter the mind and obtain that space. Okay, your pineal gland, your energy, just to keep you, you know, vibrating on a low frequency. Okay. So again, when we're talking about aliens, they have already invaded. It's already been done. They're here. They're here. They've already spliced and diced you. They've already done with all the research, taken all your resources and everything and turned you into their cattle or chattel. This has already been done. So they're going to keep giving you that false narrative. You're waiting. In religion, they're going to keep telling you that somebody's going to part the clouds and come down here. It's already been done. So-called black people, you already in hell. It's symbolic for the Sheol where you already are residing because, again, we have been deceived. And every other thing that comes into this land while it's under their leadership and their rule and you don't know who you are will come in on top of you, and they will be they will you're perishing, okay, or burnt or whatever, okay, but they will be ascending, okay. They'll always do better than you, no matter if they look like you or not. If they've come, the only reason why someone can be put on high if they look like you is if they're still of a foreign bloodline, and those bloodlines that they use to put in front of you have been constructed and dealt with their whole entire lineage, okay. And so they think like these people, so they're no friend of yours. You're not going to be in Hollywood or on television telling you any freaking thing and being for you. It may sound as if they are, but what are their works? There are enough celebrities that you have supported for a long time, and you ain't got to do a damn thing for nobody that ain't doing nothing for themselves, and you ain't got to do nothing for nobody if you don't want to. But if I'm doing something for you, you better get your ass out here and do something for me, or I won't be supporting you anymore. Okay? So this goes for music industry people that are higher up in the industry. That goes for them as well. The ones that are the true owners. Okay? The true owners. Okay? So that is for them too. Your pockets will hurt when it come to me. This is why I don't listen to that garbage that they call music no more. For one, it's fucking with your spirit, and on another end, okay, they know exactly what they're doing by putting these hidden messages and these subconscious markers in the music in order to also keep manipulating you so that you can be a part of your own demise. So again, you turn around and look at yourself and you worse than they are. They don't even have to really come in your streets no more because you're going to take care of each other over stupid shit that they set up, traps and snares that they set up for you to be against your brother and your sister. So again, forget all the this is going off subject, but forget all this one day don't buy shit. All that. See who your true enemies are, and they gonna make it feel good. So again, some people may use this analogy when it comes to the so-called devil. Again, I see differently. But when it comes to something so-called evil, okay, it's gonna come to you and it's gonna feel good. It's not gonna be, he's not gonna come in a different kind of way. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be godly or goodly, right? Okay. You're going to feel good. You're going to want to participate. But at the end, you're going to turn around and notice that it's not really for you. And you're really under a trance. You turn around and look at everybody else's music and say, wait a minute, why don't they degrade their women like that? Why we letting that ride? Why we supporting people that end up performing it? And why we supporting corporations that put that shit out and won't let them put nothing positive out for you to enjoy?
Well,
Mind control.
feeding on his own.
Yeah, feeding on his own. You see that? Just what I just said. Scouts. I'm gonna have to watch whatever this is, because when you talk about Indian scouts, you know what they did? They took certain people that look like you and placed them in your community, and you brought them in love, only to find out that they was working for the corporation in order to take information or riches or something from you, your souls, your nationality, your standing in law, your fucking people. Everything you think you had has been taken away from you, American Negro, and you don't even wonder why. And we don't change nothing. We don't change not a damn thing. We just go on with it because you waiting for somebody to part the sky and come down here. Well, I'm sorry to say that same person you waiting for said that it was going to be you. Same person said that the temple is in you. Same person said ye are gods. Who was he talking to? Do you even know? Do you realize? Don't let religion tell you. Don't let your pastor tell you. What do you think that it's saying when you read that shit? Whole time, the people we waiting for, we are the people that we are waiting on. They don't expect you to look there because you don't want to hear nothing else a Negro is saying. You want to get your information from school and it makes it accurate. You want to believe everything that these people tell you, but when someone comes and tell you something that should be uplifting you, you want to bite their heads off. You want to ignore the information. You don't want to support the person. You don't want them to think that they have something that you could better you. You want to just act like it doesn't even matter, right? See, it shows you your true colors and who you are. And the awakening has something to do with you noticing everything that's going on from all the way at the top that trickled down even to your next door neighbor. Because just because you look like me, if you ain't for my people, and if you doing something to hurt the community or hurt the people, you not me. We not the same, is what I'm trying to say. I don't support you. Okay? I don't support you. I don't hate you. I'm not going to talk about you. I'm not going to do anything like this. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I'm saying. I'm not judging you. I'm just saying, look around you. What is this doing to benefit you? Then stop crying to everybody else about what they're going to do if you're not going to do anything for yourself at the end of the day. So again, I don't see celebrities or celebrities as my people. Though I know who they are. I know what bloodlines they come from. And they're more likely connected to a Madonna or something than to you, or connected with those same people of color that brought them over here on the ships, taught them your language, and act as if they were bringing them together. Now, some of these people may not have been knowing what they were doing, but at some point in time, they had to know.
After the premiere of Geronimo in Los Angeles, uh, I watched the film, and it wasn't quite the film I felt like that we had shot. Because throughout, well, it had other writers come, and there were changes made to the original script. Afterwards, when I came out into the large foyer, the hallway outside the theaters, I walked out, and it was completely empty except for one man standing about about 20 yards away from me. He was standing there, arms akimbo like this, and he said, "Studi, why did you let them do that to my film?" John Mead.
Okay. So again, I'm just going to go ahead and skim through here. You guys can look at this on your own and finish it. The Only Good Indian, an interview with a West Studi, or West Studi. Now let's just skim through here, and I'm
I
gonna
had
go ahead
nothing
and.
to, I, there was nothing, I had no answer for him. You know,
Okay.
like Michael, he has this great plan. He has this great method of getting to where he's going, but he's not averse to taking chances or suggesting existing life. But you know, uh, he was somewhat out of his element, in my opinion, because there's so many things you can't control out in the wilderness, and out there's the flowing of water, the sound problems, there's airplanes.
Okay, well, anyways, the flowing of water, it depends on what kind we're talking about. But even the regular water that you drink, they have a way of controlling that. They've stopped up so many things with the dam systems that they built here in the lands. You can tell if you look at if you take the time out to look at Google Earth or something like that, where water used to be and where it's not anymore. These are certain things that you can go ahead and look at, and get your own uh, way of looking at it. But you can tell where things used to flow and they don't flow anymore and things like this. You can look at old maps and see big old pieces of the land being split apart by water. And again, now that's not there. So again, we're going to go ahead and stop it here. I don't think he's saying anything else that's really important. I kind of just wanted to show you guys that. And I hope that you are following me again, because I only have my way of showing. I only have my way of showing, and I'm not just pulling this stuff out of nowhere. I've done my research. I've done my due diligence. And again, limiting myself and not being able to go off and just be free with speaking to you guys because I'm concerned someone won't get it is going to have us talking about the same thing over and over again. We'll never get anywhere. So again, from now on, I'm just giving the information. You know what I'm saying? I'm just showing my way of thinking for those who are already there and they feel like they already feel this way. And because I know for me, even when I was coming in, it just was like, oh, I just felt so bad because I didn't feel like anybody's thinking this way. I don't want to say anything out loud because, wow, this would just sound so off. People would think I'm crazy or whatever. So again, I'm that voice that's going to start speaking up and just saying what I've found so far. You know what I'm saying? For those that are already there that hear this, but they're not seeing it anywhere else in the world. And again, they want to unite with other like-minded people in order to put their information in that are not going to judge them or think that they're coming in a negative way, because I know there is no heart that is bigger than the American Aborigines that are trying to wake up their people, whether the people know it or not. Okay. So again, thanks a lot for watching and take care.